What's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is May the 1st. It is a brand new month. It's also Friday today. As you can see, the overall markets are gravitating towards the upside once again on the SPY and the Qs. Yeah, what's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Let me pull up the economic calendar. Not too much for Red Folder news events. We had a bunch of earnings. We had a bunch of Red Folder news as well, but that is done and over with now. But yeah, before we get started, what's up, everyone? Good morning, Victor. Good morning, B Roots. Good morning, Knight, Andy, Josh, Martin, Juan, Chris. Good morning, Robert. What's up, Ryan, Vade, Deuce, Cosmic. Good morning, Maria. Big up, Rise, and Julius, Francisco. What's up, everyone? Wakey, Cobb. What's up, Todd, Geo, Gerald, Deuce. Yeah, what's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Let me pull up the economic calendar, which we have, as I mentioned, not too much red folder news. Really today, we do have some ISM manufacturing. Sometimes this is a red folder news event, but in this case, it's going to be an orange folder at 10 a.m. And then for the earnings calendar, let me pull this up quickly as well. We had a couple big earnings that are notable yesterday. Apple ended up having earnings. We had SNDK, a couple memory names, some memory dropping, SNDK, WDC dropping, MU dropping here in the pre-market. We had Reddit, that was a big one. And then some other ones that we had, at least this morning. Moderna's moving up nicely here. So a couple major earnings. And then, of course, on Wednesday, we had more earnings. And the overall markets end up gravitating towards the upside yesterday. A little bit of rejection off our previous day highs right off the bat to fill its gap. But then we end up rallying towards the high. So let's go on to the SPY chart. First things first, as you can see, this SPY chart ended up closing bullish above our previous all-time highs, and now you can see pretty strong candle close here on the daily. Really strong buyers stepping in here now as well. For the key levels moving forward, at least on the SPY, we did break back above our key levels, which is at 716. We also broke back above that 712, which was key, and we end up having continuation higher. So right now we are at 720. So the key levels that we're going to have marked out coming into today is going to be that previous day highs. Really, that's the only valid level that we have coming to market open, 719, since we are farther away from that 715. But really, previous day highs is what we're going to have marked out. As long as we maintain above previous day highs, we are going to be leaning more towards the upside here on the major indices. So SPY, really, it's going to be that previous day highs. Another possible scenario here above our pre-market highs for continuation towards the upside here as well. If we go on to the ES, the key levels that we can have marked out, let me just mark out that previous day highs here as well. Key levels is, of course, going to be that 70 to 40. If you go into the hourly time frame, you can see this one fairly bullish key levels. And one of the main levels that we have marked out was that 7180s. Yesterday, we ended up gravitating towards the upside. A little bit of rejection right off the bat, but higher lows were still being built. We ended up reclaiming it later into the day, and a nice push towards the upside once we got back above our last week's highs. So for the key levels that we have marked out coming to market open, what we're going to have is our previous day highs, 72.40. This is the level that we're going to have marked out. As long as you can maintain above our 72.40, we're going to be looking for continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario above our pre-market highs, hold above this level for continuation higher. So those are the levels that we have for the ES coming into market open. Only way you're interested in downside, as I mentioned, downside's been very difficult. There might have been a couple opportunities for downside like yesterday right off the bat, but overall higher time frames has been fairly bullish. Intraday, right, every single major dip has been bought up. Downside only is in play underneath our previous day highs, and it'll just be a quick scalp towards the lows in case price did want to retest that 72.10 on the higher time frames. All right, let's go on to the QQQ here now as well. As you can see for the Qs, higher lows are very much well being built. We end up having a nice strong candle close here on the daily time frame, back above our last week's highs, as you can see right here. So for the QQQ, the key levels that we have coming into market open is our 664. So 664 is our high that we created here in the actual market hours. As long as we maintain above this level, we are bullish for continuation towards the upside. If we have our extended trading hours on, key levels is still going to be that 664. Other levels that we could have marked out here now as well is going to be that previous day highs, 668. So these are the levels coming into market open. If we do want to see some upside here on the Qs, two scenarios above our previous day highs hold for continuation towards upside. Another possible scenario is going to be the hold of our 664 for that continued pushback towards the highs here as well. As I mentioned, this one very much still intact, right? There's only been a couple shorting opportunities the past really month here. It is all the way, sorry, we are in May now. So for a whole month straight, for the month of April, nice rally towards the upside. There's only been maybe 1 or 2 good days where you could have looked for a short position on these SPY and Qs. Overall, every single dip, as I mentioned, has been bought up. So key levels is going to be that 668. Keep that in mind. As for the NQ, let's look at this here on the daily chart. Daily chart, every single dip so far is being bought up. And now you can see strong candle close back above our last week's key levels. Key level coming into market open here is going to be our 27,400. And then of course, other levels that we can have marked out here now is going to be that previous day highs, which you can mark out, drag over. And if we do want to see continuation coming into market open, what we're going to have marked out here is that previous day highs 27,600 for continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario is really the area that we broke out from. In this case, it's our 27,440. As you can see, once we reclaim back above that level yesterday, nice rally towards the upside. So, sorry. So we're either looking for that retest off that opening print, or we're looking for the retest above our previous day highs for continuation. All right. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers, I'm going to go into the SMH here, the semiconductor ETF, and then we're going to head on to the IWM and some tickers. If you guys do have any charts, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate it if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. All right, let's go into the SMH. So as you can see, the SMH, the past few days, nice higher lows are being bought up. But you can see the overall markets, some of the semis are lagging behind here, right? We just had some memory names that reported down a little bit here in the pre-market. If we look at this on the daily time frame perspective, this one's still very much bullish, right? You can see higher lows are being built. Key levels is going to be that all-time highs. For the SMH, the key levels that we do have marked out is going to be this 510. You can see this is the level. We have multiple touches on 510. If you do want to see continuation above 510 for this pushback towards the upside. Another possible scenario is the hold above our this 500 key psych level for this pushback towards the highs here as well. So this is what we have for the SMH coming into market open here. Still leaning more towards upside, but we need it above our 510 for continuation. As for the IWM, we kind of talked about this potential setup, right? We have our previous all-time highs here, nice level of demand. We also have our daily gap, filled that daily gap, nice buyers stepping in, more of an accumulation, right? Manipulation, distribution type setup. So you can see consolidation, right? Drop towards the downside. Once we had this reclaim, that was our signal for continuation back higher. And now we are above our 278. Maintain above our 278 for continuation higher. So for the IWM, keep an eye out on your previous day highs. Maintain longs above our 278 here on the IWM. Okay, That being said, let's head on to some tickers that we have coming into market open here. Starting off with Tesla, let's go on to the daily chart. As you can see here on the higher time frames, the daily chart, the key level is going to be that 380. This is really the only level that matters. On the daily time frame, nothing's really happening, right? We kind of have this downtrend break, and you can see overall market retesting the bottom of the trend line, retesting the area that we broke out from. So for Tesla, if we do want to see upside, needs to get back above this 380. If we can get back above this 380, continuation back up and towards 410, reject off this 380, we can see a push right back down in towards that 360. So as you can see here, what we have is just this period of consolidation. You can draw this out. Break above, retest, continuation towards the upside. If we do reject off this level, we can see a push right back down in towards that 370 here on the higher time frame. So this is what we have for Tesla coming into market open here, right? Longs are in play above our 385 and a hold of that level. If we do reject, we're going to see a push right back towards the downside. Okay. We have some more, let's see, some of you guys mentioned we do have some news here, a little bit of a pop right at that 810. We'll kind of talk about this here in a second. As for NVIDIA, the key levels that we have is going to be that previous all-time highs. Currently, we are actually rejecting off that level. So for NVIDIA, as you can see right here on the weekly time frame, so far, the weekly candle has not closed as of yet, but sellers are stepping in here above our previous all-time highs. You can see a little bit of rejection, pretty big weekly candle here right off that 210. Now you can see prices now pushing back down in towards our 190, really the breakout level that we had for that retest. So not as bullish on NVIDIA after yesterday's candle that broke towards the downside. If we do want to see continued upside, the reclaim back above 212 was needed. We actually ended up rejecting off that level, and of course we ended up gravitating lower underneath that 208. So for NVIDIA, key levels that we have marked out was that 212 along with that 208. Broke underneath that 208. NVIDIA was one of the weaker tickers, and this one actually broke towards the downside yesterday. So right into a key level support here. If we do want to see any sort of mean reversion here on NVIDIA, we need to see the bounce play off our 200, or now the reclaim back above 204 coming into market open for any sort of pushback towards the upside. If we look at NVIDIA, if we look at AMD, this one is continually the market's higher. Every single dip so far is being bought up. As you can see, daily gap filled the daily gap. Nice continuation back up and towards our all-time highs. Now for AMD, it did hit our all-time highs main objective yesterday. Now we can just kind of refine this level, change this color here as well. So for AMD, key level is going to be this 350-250. That is our all-time highs. If we do want to see continuation, as I mentioned, above this level, hold for a push towards the upside. We could see a potential all-time highs rejection and it push right back down in towards that 340. This is very much well in play if the higher time frames, right, does want to show some sellers right after having this nice move, and we kind of push right back down in towards that 340 as I talked about. So longs are in play above our 352 previous day highs here as well. Shorts are in play underneath 352 for potential mean reversion. As for Apple, so Apple did have earnings yesterday. As you can see, initial drop towards the downside, but ultimately rallying back higher. And now you can see we are above our previous day highs. So for Apple, the key levels that we do have marked out, we can mark out this level here, 280. Next level on the higher time frames, of course, is going to be that all-time highs. Now we can go back onto the lower time frames. As for Apple, key levels is going to be that 280 as I mentioned, and then we can also mark out that previous day highs. If we do want to see upside, Apple does have room up in towards our all-time highs. Key level is going to be that 280. Hold above that 280 for continuation up in towards that all-time highs. Another possible scenario, bounce play here off that previous day highs, 276 for continuation towards the highs here as well. So for Apple, most likely going to be a little bit more patient. Don't really like trading day one earnings plays. As you can see yesterday, there wasn't too much that happened for day one earnings. besides Google, right? You can see Microsoft, a little bit of a drop right off the bat. Google drop after reclaim much later into the day. This happened later around 12. Meta didn't really do too much. Day one earnings kind of just rejected off that 624 right off the bat, but consolidated within inside of a tight range. And then for Amazon, this is what can very much happen with Apple today is right within the first 5 minutes. If this does drop, right, it's going to be fairly neutral for the rest of the day, very similar to Amazon. So for Google, Google's the only one that is continuing higher towards the upside. Yesterday, right off the bat, a little bit of rejections, but once we ended up reclaiming later into the session, nice break and retest back above that 372. As for the key levels that we have marked out today, previous day highs, we can drag this down. It's going to be that 382. So for Google, if we do want to see some upside here above our previous day highs, hold for that continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario here is above our pre-market highs and a hold above that level, sorry, for continuation. And of course, if we kind of reject off this level right off the bat and reclaim back above our previous day highs, we can be looking for the reclaim setup later into the session, right? Google is fairly bullish, right? We had earnings not too long ago. We're at all-time highs. Every dip so far is being bought up. So you just like to see continuation here on Google for a push towards the upside. Google is one of the most bullish tickers here in the market. As for Microsoft, this one had earnings drop towards the downside. Now you can see nice kind of rally back up and towards our earnings low, which happens to be our 412. If you do want to see upside here on Microsoft, reclaim back above that level is needed for a potential move back towards the highs. If we reject off this level, we're going to see a push right back down in towards our 400 and below. So this is what we have on Microsoft coming into market open. Keep an eye out on that earnings low. As for Meta, this one dropping down 9% yesterday. Pretty big gap right down in towards one of our key levels of support, which is our 580. Not quite hit that 580. So for Meta, key levels is of course going to be that earnings low that I talked about. Now this is also our previous day highs here as well. If we can reclaim back above, we can see this potential mean reversion back towards the upside. If we reject off that 620, we can see a move back down in towards pre-market lows along with our previous day lows 600 here on Meta. Previous day highs is going to be key on that. For Amazon, previous day highs along with the high that we created here on Wednesday is going to be key. Reclaim back above, we can see a hold for a push up in towards that 274 is key. That's going to be important here on Amazon. If we reject, we're going to see a push right back down in towards that 260. So this to me looks fairly neutral, right? We are of course at all-time highs, but you see a little bit of an earnings reaction. If we're basing it off of the daily time frame, as long as we can maintain above this 260, you're going to be bullish here on Amazon. But at least for intraday price action, you have our 258 along with that 266. As for Netflix, this one, nice buyer stepping in here right off the lows. Netflix, you can see nice downtrend break right off a key level support, broke above its previous candle high here as well. So let's see if we can have some sort of continuation on Netflix back towards the upside, right? Kind of broke below this downtrend. And now you can see what we'd like to see is the break above our previous day highs for a continuation towards the upside. So key level is going to be that previous day highs marked out. Above our previous day highs, continuation up and towards our 96 here is in play on Netflix. Okay, with that being said, let's go on to a couple more tickers here now as well. Let's starting off with Palantir. Palantir, nice kind of base. If you look at this one on the daily chart, not really too much to talk about. A little bit more consolidation on Palantir. Really just consolidating in between that 160 along with that 130. Right now, we are right in between the middle of the range. What I'd like to see here on Palantir, we also have this higher time frame kind of trend line forming as well. So for Palantir, if we do want to see any sort of push higher, needs to break back above 150 and of course this trend line as well if we do want to see any sort of continuation higher. At least for intraday price action, levels that I have marked out is going to be that 140. Let's actually just refine this level right? 140 is going to be key here on Palantir. Currently, we are reclaiming back above. This is also our previous day highs here as well. So for Palantir, now what we like to see is maintain above that 140 previous day highs for a pushback up in towards that 144 and potentially that 145 here on the higher time frames. So Palantir, you can now look for longs above our previous day highs. As for AVGO, this one still looks good here as well. Basing higher lows are being built. If we can get back above that, now it's going to be that 415 continuation back towards the upside is in play. As for AVGO, we end up filling this gap all the way back towards the downside, but nice buyer stepped in. So we filled two gaps here, came back down, nice gap fill. Now for AVGO, base above our 414 for a push back up and towards, of course, that all-time highs. So what we like to see, break above, retest, continuation, all-time highs in play. As for MU, this one, higher time frame, the key levels that we have marked out is this flat top. Currently, a little bit of a pullback, of course, with the semis and some of the memory names. As for MU, still bullish here. Higher lows are being built on the hourly time frame, but now we need to see a reclaim back above 520 at a minimum, or now preferably back above our 530. So that's what we have on MU. Key level is going to be that 517, and that 530. SNDK, a little bit of a drop here in the overnight session, of course, with earnings. Now you can see we actually are bouncing here in the pre-market. So for SNDK, key levels that we have marked out is going to be this 1060. So above our 1060, potential continuation back up and towards our all-time highs. If it comes back up, we could see this kind of rejection here off this 1060, also our previous day lows. This one, in my opinion, fairly neutral here. So I'd be a little bit more cautious just because earnings fairly neutral. IV is going to be elevated. Just wait for that first kind of 30 minutes to play out. As for Intel, keep an eye on Intel coming to market open yesterday, kind of rejected right off the bat, but just a little bit more consolidation. Now for Intel, if we do want to see a push higher, back above our previous day highs is going to be key. Reclaim back above 95 can be in play for a continuation higher. So let's keep an eye on Intel above 95 today. As for WDC, this one dropped, of course, with earnings that we had. For Hood, this one's bouncing nicely off the lows. Key level that you just like to see maintain above our previous day highs if you do want to see any sort of mean reversion back towards the upside. Similar thing here with SoFi, above our previous day highs for potential mean reversion. As for everything else, a couple other names that look good, right? Marvel, nice bounce here off the lows. If you're looking at this one on the daily chart, a lot of these ones, after this huge push, this is our first pullback for continuation. So these ones are still fairly bullish, right? Marvel, right? You have ARM, you have a couple other ones that look fairly good, right? Any setup that does look like this, right? Very similar to like AMD, right? First dip is being bought up here on the daily chart, and now we are already back at our all-time high. So this is actually just back up and towards our all-time highs key level. But yeah, with that being said, I'll go over a couple more tickers here now. So if you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate it if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. So we had some news not too long ago, and now you can see the markets are gravitating back up and towards our previous day highs here. As for the major news, this is what we had about 15 minutes ago. Let's see. Submitted a new proposal. Okay, so we just essentially submitted a new proposal for the overall, that's basically war news that we do have. So as you can see, overall market reacting fairly bullish off that. And now we are back at our all-time highs and our previous day highs here as well. So as I mentioned, right, if we do want to see longs coming to market open above our previous day highs here is going to be key. As long as you can maintain above previous day highs, bullish stance in the markets, it could even come back to that 664, and this would still be bullish here on the higher time frames, as I mentioned. Okay, let's see. Apple, already went over that. Most of the names I do already go over. If you look at the watch list on the right-hand side, most likely I already went over these names. Let's see. Intel, went over that one. Let's see, Microsoft, most of those ones, Oracle. We can go over Qualcomm. This one had earnings yesterday, or sorry, the earnings the day before. Really nice bounce off the low. So if you're looking at this one on the weekly time frame, nice double bottom here, reversal back towards the upside. Of course, we did have earnings. Key level that we have marked out as well, of course, is going to be that 185. Really solid push towards the upside. So for Qualcomm, you can see nice touch in the after hours on earnings. And then yesterday opened up pretty low, right? 166, nice opening range break towards the upside, all the way in towards that pre-market highs, and now a little bit of reaction. So for Qualcomm, if you do want to see continuation day 2 earnings play, it's going to be back above this 184 for this push back up in towards, now it's going to be this 184 and above on the higher time frames. ARM, another one, higher lows are being built here. Key levels that we do have marked out is at 204. Nice hold above our 204, break and retest above our previous day highs. End up filling this gap here on ARM. Key level now is going to be that previous day highs. So mark this out, multiple touches here as well. If we do want to see some upside, it needs to be above our 214 for continuation towards upside here. Yeah, that is most likely going to be it for me today. I'm going to call it a day here. As I mentioned, right, Qs maintain longs or maintain a bullish bias above our previous day highs, above the 664. For SPY, maintain a bullish bias here above our previous day highs for continuation. Main watch is coming to today. I'm going to keep an eye on Tesla, this one above our 385, potential flip of this level for continuation higher. Nvidia, not as interested anymore, potential kind of mean reversion bounce off the lows. I do like AMD. Let's keep an eye on AMD above our 352. Other names that I do like here, let's see what happens with Apple within the first 5 to 15 minutes. Don't have a bias on Apple. Higher time frame is, of course, leaning a little bit bullish, but let's see what happens within the first 5 to 10 minutes. As for names that I do like still, right, Google for some upside here, and then Microsoft, right? A lot of these earnings reversals are in play here as well. But for like Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, going to be a little bit more patient on these ones. Netflix, we can keep an eye out for above our previous day highs. Nice bounce on this. And then for some other names, right, Palantir above our 140, we can keep an eye out for. Intel still in play here as well, above our 95. And then for some of these memory names, going to be a little bit more patient just because we had a drop on SNDK and WDC. So going to be a little bit more patient on MU unless we can get back above our 517. Besides that, yeah, that's most likely going to be it for me today. As I mentioned, right, just keep maintaining a bullish bias here as long as we're above our previous day highs here on both SPY and the Qs, and we could be looking for any sort of dips that we do have for longs. Yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy that. If you did, appreciate it if you guys drop a like and sub, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend. Take care, everyone. Peace.